Hey, good morning. It's time for story time with Brian. It's Monday morning before work. I have a blemish this week, so ignore that. We'll get right to the story. Hey, a couple of my favorite things to talk about are politics and my father, but today's story combines all of that, I promise. Just give me a minute to wrap it up at the end, and it'll be worth your time, I promise. Hey, so about 1988, my friend Gary Petrie and I scored some tickets to the WWF at Hare Arena in Dayton, Ohio. In the 80s, that was the place, and we drove up from the suburbs where I grew up to Hare Arena and to see some of the biggest names in professional wrestling in the 80s. I was pretty stoked. I was a 15, 16-year-old kid, and I wanted to see the guys that I've been watching for a few years, and that night promised no different. So telling my dad about the event before we got there, the week or two before, it's like Jake the Snake Roberts is going to be there, Andre the Giant's going to be there, Hacksaw Jim Duggan's going to be there. It was going to be a big night for big names. Everybody for the 80s was there except for Hulk Hogan. So this is sort of like at the top of his career, and he wasn't going to come to Hare Arena that week for WWF. But my dad sat me down and had that conversation, kind of like how you explain to your 11-year-old there's no Santa Claus. My dad told me about how everybody in the WWF are friends, and it's not real. I kind of knew it wasn't real, but I assumed that it was like scripted somewhat. They weren't really hitting each other with chairs, but I really thought that these guys were really out there fighting for every dollar, for every minute of TV time. So my dad told me this, that they were all friends, and it sort of ruined it for me, right? He sort of let me on the secret that I chose really not to believe it. I went to the arena that night. We got parked, we got in, we got our seats. We were right off the floor, like 2 or 3 rows up in the stands. Great seats. And that was the night that Jake the Snake Roberts threw a rubber snake into the ring. Andre the Giant screamed like a schoolgirl and went over the top rope to get out of the ring because Andre the Giant was afraid of snakes. The ref had to get the rubber snake out, and then they fought, and it was great. It was great. At the end of the night, the place clears out, and we get in our car, head down Salem Avenue to get back into Dayton, back to the suburbs. And we stopped at the Quick and Cold 7-Eleven carry-out kind of place close to Hare Arena. And as we're getting out of the car, a limousine pulls up. And out of the limousine, Jake the Snake Roberts. Cowboy boots, blue jeans, crisp button-down shirt, and this long duster trench coat. And I'm like, guys, that is Jake the Snake Roberts. So I got my program, ballpoint pen out of the floorboard of the car, and I got Jake the Snake Roberts autograph. I still have it. It's upstairs right now in a box in a closet. But then, Hacksaw Jim Duggan got out of the car. And 2 other guys got out of the car. And they're all laughing and joking. Into the Quick and Cold they went for some snacks before they got to the airport or wherever they're going next. My dad was right. These guys in front of the thousands of fans at Hare Arena fought, called each other every name in the book. But at the end of the day, they climbed in the same limousine, stopped for the same snacks, headed to the next city together. Why do I tell you that story today? Because tomorrow is Super Tuesday in Ohio, and we're going to vote. And my friends have been debating, how do we vote? I got to tell you, I'm looking at what these guys are saying, and I'm convinced they're all like professional wrestlers. Who they are in real life is not who they put on the stage or put on the TV, and they're not really hating each other as much as they act like they do when they're on in front of the camera. These guys all say the same thing. They have the same goals. They're all going to make money. All their friends are going to make money. And if you don't believe that, I can point you to legions of people who blindly follow anybody for the promise of a job in the White House or Washington or someplace close. I'm going to vote tomorrow. I've always voted as long as I can remember. Tomorrow in the primary for the Republican ballot, I'll pull a ballot and I'll vote. But I got to tell you, finding the difference between these guys is a lot harder than I thought. And the more and more I think about politics, after spending 10 years in the trenches, it looks a lot like professional wrestling to me. Have a good week. Meet a new friend, tell a story, and I will see you back here next Monday for another Story Time with Brian. Bye.